Hey, what's up everybody? Dr. LeGrand here, and I'm going to be talking about specifically ADHD and neurofeedback, how it actually can benefit ADHD. And before I get started with everything as far as when it comes to neurofeedback, what you need to guys actually do is actually download my free ADHD guide if you haven't already. It is in the description above if you're on Facebook, on Facebook Live, or if you're on YouTube, it is in the description below as far as a free guide that goes over all the lab protocols that I do recommend for people who have ADHD. Vitamins, nutrients, supplements, you name it, other foods. That has it all there in that free guide, and they have one for adults for ADHD as well as for parents who have kids with ADHD. All right, so let's go ahead and get started as far as what is neurofeedback. So maybe you guys might not have a clue what neurofeedback is. So let me tell you a little bit of what exactly is neurofeedback and how it actually can benefit people who have ADHD. Neurofeedback is actually a way to give you feedback on your brainwave activity. So it actually reads the brain waves of what's going on. We have several different brainwave activity that goes on in our brain depending if we have a lower mood, if we're asleep, or if we're very active. Our brain activity does change throughout the day. But for people who have ADHD, it can tend to have a very low or very high, especially for people who have depression can also have very low, or if you have anxiety, can be a very high active brainwave activity. So what it specifically does is kind of read the brainwave activity of where parts of the brain that could be hindering, especially for people who have ADHD, there might be some low brain activity in the prefrontal cortex of the brain, which is for a lot of issues that happen with people with ADHD. So we're able to kind of look at this, but what it is doing is to help also improve upon that by actually giving it exercises using software to be able to challenge the brain. So it's kind of like going to the gym, except it's a gym for the brain. The thing is also, who is it exactly for? So I mentioned that, yes, it is for people with ADHD. Initially, neurofeedback was used for that, but it also can be used for people who have anxiety, depression, or sleep issues, or other mood imbalances that are going on. So it's really helpful for those aspects. The beauty thing about neurofeedback is what they have found with people with ADHD who actually utilize neurofeedback correctly is it can be almost just as effective as the medications, except without the side effects, which is awesome to be able to see that. It's something I do with my patients. I do run neurofeedback at my own clinic and see great results with it for people who decide not to use medications or use a combination of medications and using the neurofeedback. They see benefits from using from both. So that is who is used for. Now, as far as why should you use neurofeedback for ADHD specifically? So like I mentioned before, it does help us kind of see where the brainwave activity is going and where it's lacking. Once we can determine what is lacking in the brain, then we can actually set the program by using a software, whether it's by watching something, playing a game, or as well as listening to something. It gives the brain feedback, what we call is positive feedback, if you are more what we call is the concentration zone, especially for people who are inattentive, have the inattentive part that most people with ADHD do have. It does reward you, whether you're winning in the game or you're able to see or hear what you're actually watching. You can actually, the brain will get that feedback of improving, like, okay, I need to concentrate more on this. Therefore, it starts exercising those parts of the brain, and that's where we kind of see improvements upon. Now, how does this work specifically for ADHD? So like I mentioned before, it does help improve both inattention as well as mood balance. So people with ADHD do tend to have inattention, but they also have anxiety. And so brainwave activity can either be very low, what we call is more daydreaming, as well as very high, where you're very stressed out. So you're not able to concentrate. You usually want your brainwave activity to be in those middle brain waves, and that helps us to be able to focus, pay attention, as well as just be able to do difficult tasks and planning and organization. That's where you want your brainwave activity. So what neurofeedback does is help the brain to start concentrating more, getting those types of brainwave activity throughout the brain. And that's what it can specifically do for ADHD, and that's why you see great results coming from it. There's lots of research on this. It's not standard, medicine that people use it, but we're seeing more and more practitioners starting to use it in their clinic because they see the utilization for it, especially a lot of psychologists, psychiatrists. I see a lot use neurofeedback for their patients. I use it for my patients. Now, as far as where can you actually do neurofeedback if you have an ADHD situation and you're trying to find a place to actually do it, I would just search neurofeedback clinics, look at the reviews. They are around the world. Like I said, here in Washington, I'm here located in the Kent Flint, Washington area, where I actually do provide remote neurofeedback. So most neurofeedback clinics will, where you have to actually go in every week or every couple of times a week, which can get expensive as well as time consuming for the patient who is actually going in for the treatment. But I provide also remote neurofeedback where you can actually rent the device, take it home, and use it in the comfort home, where I could still read the brainwave activity and as well as adjust the program as needed, which is the beauty about that. So wherever you are in the world, look it up. I know there's lots of places around the world that does neurofeedback. Just have to kind of search for it. And if you're locally here, reach out to us here at Nature's Health Clinic, and we're a naturopathic family practice. Now, before I go, if you have not already, download my free guide on ADHD for both adults and parents. If you're on Facebook, it's the links above. And if you're on YouTube watching this, it is in the description below. So I hope you guys found this beneficial. Until next time, this is Dr. LeGrand signing out. And remember, you guys have an optimal mind. Thanks. Bye.